There was so much that happened in this episode, and like 99% of it I didn't see coming, but at the end of the day, man, I just really feel for Kurapika.
Hunter, Hunter, episode 53, Fake and Psyche.
Man, you can never predict what's going to happen next in this series. At least I haven't been able to thus far. And of course, I'm only 53 episodes in, but Jesus criminy. Well, hello, my brothers and sisters and hunters and Phantom Troupe members and 10 Dons, fellows of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on the awesome and mind-boggling and full of twists tale of Hunter x Hunter. Now, our last episode saw us with really the last half of it just being this crazy battle between Krollo Lucifer, the leader of the Phantom Troupe, and of course the two top tier guys I would consider in the Zoldyck family, that being Silva and Zeno. And as it ended, Zeno was holding Krollo in place and told Silva now, and Silva went up into the air and created these two giant purple balls, and then you didn't see them hit, but you just like they just panned out and showed that just like an explosion, like they just rocked the whole city, the building, and everybody felt it. And that's how things left off, right? So that's where things pick up. But first, before it picks up over there, we wind up getting this kind of panned out shot of this island with a long bridge that comes out to it and a mansion with a bunch of mafia-looking guys, and they're standing there with their M4s and their M16s, their guns and their black suits. It's raining, and they have white umbrellas, of all things. So they have white umbrellas while they're holding their guns, and they're standing out there, sticking out like sore thumbs, and all of a sudden, the lights go out in the mansion behind them, and they all go and fall to the ground, right? And who do we see but the Zoldyck family, little, I think, girl, younger sister or whatever. And then inside the actual place, walking up to the place, starting from a shot from his feet on up, we see Killua's older dickhead brother, Illumi, the one with the big eyes and the asshole that just screwed him out of, getting his hunter license and everything 30 episodes ago. I hate the little prick. Anyway, so we see him, and then we wind up getting this kind of back and forth type deal, but really what the end result is that Illumi was hired by Krollo Lucifer, the Phantom Troupe leader, to kill the 10 Dons at their home, right? So we wind up seeing the 10 Dons sitting around this table, and they all got the pins in the back of their heads. They're dead, right? And the way the shot was done was wonderful. But that's the bottom line of what happened. So Illumi calls up and talks with his father, and says, okay, listen, this and that, or maybe it was his grandfather, I forget who exactly answered the call. And as the dust and debris from this attack winds up kind of settling, we find out that everybody's okay from this attack. Nobody was really harmed. Lucifer, Krollo, is still standing. He gets up. Zeno, of course, is still alive. And Silva is fine. He's the one who performed the attack. But anyway, we come to find out that, of course, Illumi says, all right, the job's done, this and that. So Zeno and Silva are just like, we're going to walk out, And Krollo's like, well, wait, hold on a second. Weren't you supposed to kill me? And they're like, no, dude. Okay, the 10 Dons hired us, right? We're not going to do anything if we don't get paid for it. We're certainly not going to risk our lives for something we're not getting paid for. It's a job. It's plain and simple. No hard feelings. We got hired by the... And he's like, well, did you know that Illumi was hired by me to kill the Dons? And they're like, of course. But it's just work. So basically... it was kind of like whoever completed their task first. If they would have killed Krollo first, they probably would have, as a courtesy, called Illumi and said, hey, you're not going to get paid. Dude's dead. We just killed him. And the other way around. So I love just the complete, just like deadpan complacency of the, of the Zoldyck family, of these assassins. It's just very much, it's just a job. They were actually on pretty much opposing warring contracts, and it was really kind of whoever completed it first. So, just wonderfully done, though, because I thought that this was going to wind up being battle against battle and troop member against this person, all this type of stuff, and get and drag out, as most things do, movies, manga, anime, right? But no, not in this particular story. So what winds up happening is we wind up the weird dude with the he's a Cortopia, I think his name is, and he's the Phantom Troupe member that hadn't really been introduced, and kind of looks like, if anybody's ever seen the Addams Family, looks like the Thing, with it's got hair hanging over its face, except for it's only hanging over side of his face, but you can see like one eye and the rest is in shadows. Anyway, so he winds up walking in with the Phantom Troupe members, and Krollo says, and this is after, of course, Zeno and Silva left. And I like, too, Krollo goes and asks Zeno, he's like, if we would have fought one-on-one, who do you think would have won? And Zeno's like, Most likely I would have, unless you were actually trying to kill me. So Zeno knew that he was holding back a little bit, and then he wasn't actually. So maybe he was just trying to hold out until Illumi killed the 10 Dons or what, or he just wasn't going full bore. The bottom line is that as they walk off, Krollo's kind of upset because he couldn't steal their powers, you know. But anyway, so as his Phantom Troupe cohorts walk in there, this Cortopi, we find out that his or her, whatever this thing is, Cousin It, that's who actually I'm thinking of, not the thing. Cousin It, I think, is the one with the hair hanging on. Anyway, this particular character's thing is it can make an exact copy of anything or anyone, just it can only be a static copy. It can't be like a living, breathing thing, right? So that comes into play in a few minutes, but what winds up happening is they wind up okey-doking everybody on this, and not only do they steal all of the items that are worth just all this money and everything else, right, obviously from, you know, the auction, but they actually go and carry on the auction as normal. We see a scene where Machi and Hisoka actually get involved and take this one guy out and everything, and they basically kill and replace the key guys that they need to, and then the dude with the little remote control, forget his name, and they puts the things in the back of people's necks and he can kind of control them. He does that to the auction house guy. Every time they're going to go and bring up the next item for auction, though, they go and find the item. They got all the Phantom Troupe members working as freaking secretaries and warehouse people. You know, I was waiting to see Hisoka driving a forklift like, beep, beep. Does anybody want to come ride on my dick? Anyway, his little creepy thing. But none of that happened. Anyway, so they're back there, and when an item gets called, they go and they hand it to Cortopi, and Cortopi goes and does this cool thing where he can make an exact copy. It's called his demon right hand. It makes the copy, and then they go and they pass off the copy, right? I'm assuming that's obviously what they did. So they bring everybody up in there. The 10 Dons are dead, but everybody thinks the auction's going on as normal, and that the 10 Dons are actually alive. And like I said, this is the biggest bag over the head, kick in the dick, punch in the ass, bent over a barrel, put it in dry without even getting the lube that I have ever seen, because Karapka's the one that winds up suffering in this whole thing. As the Mafia goes and starts looking around, they wind up finding static copies from this Cortopi of 5 of the Phantom Troupe members as well as Krollo, and they all look like they've been beaten and bashed in and everything else, you know. And the Mafia guys are talking about, okay, do whatever you want to them, dismember them, just make sure the heads stay intact, you know. Try to identify them in any way you can, you know, fingerprints, teeth, whatever. And then the Mafia's like, we're going to kill their families and their loved ones and their second grade teacher and the guy that delivered the mail to their house and everybody who ever even looked at them, we're going to kill because we're the Mafia and we're fucking awesome. And they're really not, because all the heads of the Mafia of the entire world have just been killed by one dude. One feminine-looking dude, by the way, with these weird big eyes named Illumi. But it's a story for another time. Like, who am I? I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to have a good time and follow along, and try to communicate my thoughts. But anyway, Karapka winds up getting notice of this about halfway through the episode, that all of the the Phantom Troupe members have been done away with and have been killed. And actually, it was from that smug, bald little fucker that one of the guys that was hired, that kind of brought together all the assassins and whatnot with the little Ozzy Osbourne spectacles on. And Karapka goes and just fucking lays him out, you know, and then goes into the auction hall. And he's like, I'm not going to believe this until I actually see the body. So he does. He goes and he looks at the body. And I felt so terrible for Karapka this entire episode. Just the look in his eyes is just absolutely terrible and devastating, because we find out too, he goes into the auction hall and they're actually auctioning off the Scarlet Eyes from one of his one of the Kurtza clan. And since the clan is believed to have been completely wiped out and annihilated, they go and they announce there's only 36 pairs of these in the world. They're so beautiful. It's considered one of the 7 wonders of the world because they're so pretty. And they do a nice job in the anime too of making these look not just like red, not just scarlet. Like, they really look cool. They look like this unique, cool, popping type color, you know. But anyway, so he winds up calling up the boss, Light Nostrad, and he says, yeah, just keep bidding on it until you get it, you know. So the bottom line is Karapka winds up winning the eyes, and bidding, of course, on them. It winds up costing like 2.9 billion. Light Nostrad's a little pissed about it at first over the phone, but then he's like, hey, I got my unconscious daughter Neon here as the moneymaker. During all this chaos and everything like that, she had gotten transported to an actual hospital, and that's where he is with her right now. So Karapka, though, I felt so terrible for him, man. He goes and he's in the bathroom, right? And he takes out his contacts, and he just the look in his eyes. And this is after, of course, he collected the Scarlet Eyes that they bought and everything like that from the, from the whole thing. But what I'm thinking is, if they were copying everything, these are just copies of the Scarlet Eyes, you know, unless I'm missing something. And you can tell me if I am missing something in the comments down below. But that's what I picked up from it. So as he's going to walk out, he runs into that little short bald fucker again. It looks like up on the roof or somewhere, you know. And he's like, pulls a gun on Karapka and is like, oh, I'm going to take you out in this and that. And you just, the look is so cool because as Karapka comes out of the shadows, all you see is the scarlet eyes light up, right? And he's just like, don't fuck with me now. I don't care who I kill, you know? And it was just so straight. Oh, man, just chills down my spine. The prickling on the back of my hair. The neck stood up. But the hair on the back of my neck stood up. I can't even talk. I'm so excited. It's going to be a long one. Sorry, buckle up. So anyway, so then as he goes in and marches past this dude just pretty much faints, you know. So, like I said, again, I felt terrible for Karapka. Gon and Killua wind up giving a call, or maybe, I think he picks up the phone, or somebody calls somebody, maybe Karapka calls them, and basically says, you know what, the Phantom Troupe is dead, their leader's dead, and hangs up on him, you know. And Gon and Killua, after they, of course, you know, after their escape from Nobunaga, they of course are going to they wind up going back to wherever is Appeal, I guess in a hotel room probably that's Appeal, and Leorio are, right? And Leorio and Appeal are getting hammered. They're just drinking and this and that, you know, having a good old time. And Gon and Killer are like, what the hell, you know? They explain that they made contact with Karapka and that they need to talk with him to, you know, learn more about their Nen. But unfortunately, you know, he obviously hung up on him and said everything was done with the Phantom Troupe. So all in all, I mean, I may have missed a few things. There was a lot that went down in this episode. I mean, there was a lot. And at the end of the day, what winds up happening is Melody and Basho and them, you know, they're all put in charge of basically watching after this neon, you know, girl for shopping sprees and all that other bullshit. You know, just relegated to babysitters, professional bodyguard babysitters. And Melody tells Karapka, you know, she can just sense, you know, from the heartbeat and everything else what's going on, and just, you know, looks at Karapka and just says, don't worry about it, we got this, man. Why don't you just go lay down and get some rest, you know? So it's very, very troubling to see. And then at the end, right towards the end, or at the end, Hisoka goes and he's calling on his cell phone, and it's in the name's in Japanese and it doesn't say it on the screen, but I'm assuming that he's calling Karapka to go and tell him, like, hey, listen, not everybody is dead. They pulled a fast one on you or whatever, you know. So I don't know if that call is eventually going to be made, or if we're just going to wrap this arc up here and just be left with a bunch of shit hanging for future stuff. I have no idea. I don't know how all this goes. I don't watch or read ahead or anything like that, but it was a gut-wrenching episode in the sense that you didn't see this coming. You didn't see things wrapping up like this quickly. At least I didn't. And then, of course, I just really feel for Karapka, you know, and what obviously what he's going through over here now, you know, because for all intents and purposes, until he speaks with Hisoka, if he ever does, he thinks that, you know, that he has not been able to get his vengeance, enact his vengeance upon the Phantom Troupe, you know. So definitely a very, very cool episode. A lot happened in this one, and I just did not see it coming with Illumi and all that other stuff. And it wasn't really even like there was any double crossing. It was just straight, hey, this is how it is, man. We're a family of assassins. We take jobs. We take jobs for money. And if the job's no longer there or the money's no longer there, there's no reason for us to do it. So that's how the episode ends off, though. And my episode question for you, brothers and sisters, is, did you see this twist coming? Did you see the twist coming? Because the Phantom Troupe, man, are they some badass, just smart motherfuckers, or at least Krollo is, because for him to have set all this up and to have the 10 Dons get killed, I mean, he had to know that they were going to call in assassins on him and everything else, but to have the 10 Dons assassinated, still go on with the auction, be able to make copies of everything, keep all the original items, as well as collect all the billions and billions and billions of Jenny, or dollars, or whatever you want to say, the money that comes with it is absolutely ingenious, I think. You know, just let me know what your thoughts are, though, on the Phantom Troupe and their whole plan, and just the kind of twist that we got in the story of this episode. I'd like to know what your thoughts are. Leave them in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you should think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We will look forward to catching all of you in the next one, Nation.
Remember to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and my other channels.